for the HoN Tour event. He actually was talking to me about it. He said that he went suicide, but maybe he was misinformed. I don't know, but anyways, Gravekeeper nonetheless. It's a different hero. Never see, but
yeah. Well, I think it is effective. He plays it very well in mid. It's very aggressive. 1v2 situations can get a little dicey, but a straight one-on-one situation with Gravekeeper,
yeah,
he can own face. And then it sounds kind of strange, but actually, if you get it some kind of initiation item like a PK, similar to what you see like with Witchlayer solo mid, you PK and drop that huge AoE ultimate. It actually works out quite well, and I've seen him do that from time to time.
Well, we'll see. Again, he played at both games against DT Esports. Hey, it worked out very well, and he plays it very well apparently. So maybe we'll see it against Complexity here, in even from the beginning, if not in this series. So. Man, Angry Testy versus Moomian, though. I know a lot of people are really tuning in just specifically for that, and
yep,
not gonna lie. I mean, not myself. I'm sure you are. You're intrigued to kind of see how that goes down. But
I want to see them both go mid. That would be the coolest thing.
That could happen. I mean, depending on the heroes, it's possible, but probably not.
Tundra versus I don't know what could he go?
Tundra versus
Silhouette.
Succubus. Angry Testy?
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, he would go like Flint Beastwood or something.
Yeah, Flint mid is. I mean, he's good by himself, but he just dies.
He needs to farm, though.
Yeah.
Damn it, he needs to farm. All right, guys, enough delaying, though. Game number 1, it actually has officially started, so we're going to stop rambling on here, and we are going to get into the game. So, Tralf, are we ready?
Yes, of course we are.
You guys are ready. You should be. If you're not, I don't know what's wrong with you. We have game number 1. Domain of Pain taking on Complexity here. Let's take a look. All right, so as you can see, Complexity is on the Legion side to start things off. Of course, Domain of Pain going to be on the Hellborn side. Domain of Pain, one of these teams that refuses to tag up appropriately, but just a side note there. Always kind of a pet peeve of mine, but hey, it's their choice. Look at the blind bans, though. Parasite Gravekeeper by
wow.
B-Kid. That's how much respect they have against the Cheese Helmet Gravekeeper. Blind ban Gravekeeper. Ophelia Tempest are the bans by Emperor.
That's kind of interesting. Now, there's a lot of good stuff left open, as there almost always is. There's Fade. There's that Silhouette. There's, of course, the Bird. There is a Legionnaire, as Legionnaire is the first lot coming out from B-Kid.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Zephyr wasn't even touched last series. From what I remember, at least. Q Squad versus Fortune Bakery. I don't believe he's banned, picked, or locked, or any of that. So, yeah, maybe Zephyr is changing it around. So. Yep, looks like the locking phase, though, of course, going on here. Legionnaire is the first lock, Wild Soul Keeper the fourth. So, to say the least, we have a very solid suicide/jungle lock pool here, and again, not really a big surprise, especially just in the competitive scene in general nowadays. But with B-Kid especially drafting, but Emperor though, he's the one that actually locked the Wild Soul Keeper. I still can't get over that Gravekeeper though, man. I mean,
yeah,
I know he plays it well, but. Blind ban worthy. I mean, B-Kid respects it, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know it. I really don't know why they would. I mean, Gravekeeper is not like a hero that takes over a game, and he's easily countered with a strong dual lane mid, which is what we see all the time from Complexity and most top tier teams. You know, strong like Magmus Engineer or something like that. I wonder if Emperor does value Magmus enough to, if not ban it, but lock it and make them try to pick something else first of the lock pool. I think that would be the smartest thing. I don't think giving them Magmus, because I could totally see them, and it's actually funny, Complexity locking Cthulhu.
He's like baiting Emperor, like, go ahead and take the elephant.
It's almost like they want him
to.
No, but I really do feel like Magmus is just so strong. I've said this for a good month and a half or so, and Complexity realizes that. A lot of other teams realize that, and it is first pick worthy. But final lot coming out for Emperor.
Yeah.
As actually B-Kid did dip into a little bit of that reserve time, so, I mean, look at that. Junglers, the name of the game, it really seems to be in Complexity. B-Kid realizes that a very easy way to draft an appropriate lineup and not screw yourself over is to lock lots of junglers and suicides.
Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I honestly think B-Kid did lock that Cthulhu font because they're pretty confident that it's not the strongest choice for Emperor. But as you were saying, I mean, Emperor is known of valuing Cthulhu font very, very, very high, and so it's almost as if he's like dangling it out there, like, go ahead and pick him up this time. We'll see what happens. Fade gonna be the final lock though, coming out for Emperor, so that actually does make things very interesting. Yeah, on how Complexity is gonna value that Fade now in the lock pool.
I actually really like that. Because there's so many good heroes in that lock pool. You have Wild Soul, which has been a bane for Complexity, especially. They've lost more games to Wild Soul than I can count. Not to say that they've lost a lot, but in the games that they have lost, I want to say a huge proportion of them have been with Wild Soul in that long lane especially. But that's kind of like the similar thing you were saying. Like, here's your fade. Go ahead and take him. We'll take Keep of the Forest and Wild Soul. Or we'll take Keep of the Forest and War Beast, because Emperor plays a fantastic War Beast. So very interesting kind of things coming out here early on. The lock phase is over. The banning phase has begun. Engineer is banned out. Silhouette's banned out. Tremble is actually banned out. So that's probably maybe another little kind of a respect ban to Testy as he plays a very fine Tremble.
Yeah, Tremble's, you know, he's, again, this is kind of one of those heroes that there are a couple of players out there. Again, Keizu is really the first one that always comes to mind, but definitely a couple of other players out there that are known for playing Tremble. And Angry Testy is definitely one of them. Granted, obviously he could play really any hero in the game, let's be honest, but especially for how much he plays, with streaming and everything. But Magmus is going to be the follow-up in there, coming up from Emperor. So there goes that Magmus you're talking about, where he was going to be. And sure enough, just wants to ban him. Just to clarify again, Rex Carve Room, that is Angry Testy. So for those that are expecting to see him and don't actually see his name over there, still a little bit uncertain as to why he's deciding to go with a different alias. But again, his choice in the end. He is allowed to do it. Dark Liddy, the log or ban coming out there.
Emperor, yeah, does ban out Magmus. That's really smart of him. I really feel like that would be first pick. The other thing that Complexity likes to do is if they do run a dual lane or something, I actually have seen them do like Torture and Glacius before, but they really do like Wretched Hag right now in this metagame. They like running them as that solo short and kind of play that hard carry role in a sense. You also mentioned Bird has been unbanned as well as Demented Shaman. They're heroes that we see banned almost all the time, but actually Tundra is the first pick. You can't forget about Tundra, especially Moonmeander when he plays at Tundra. Fantastic, not because of his presence in mid, but because of the presence that he has all game with that Shiver, constantly moving that around.
Setting up, I mean, that could very likely go to Moon, and he could go mid, so maybe if Testy gets a mid hero here, we could have them match up, but not to get too far out of ourselves. But yeah, the Bird, Zephyrman, I mean, not touched the last series. Q Squad versus Fortune Bakery, he's not banned, locked here. I mean, is this going to be a case of going to DreamHack, he's just the most popular thing, and then right after DreamHack it's like, yeah, no, let's forget about him now. I don't know, we'll see. Aluna is going to be the first pick so far, coming out from, of course, Domain of Pain here. We'll see what Emperor's second choice is. But
it's got to be something to pair him up with that, with a mid, or if they want to do like some kind of tri-lane with Behemoth, that would be very effective too. They could, hell, even go Aluna Behemoth mid, and that would be effective. We'll have to wait and see what they do. But also, Tundra is a fantastic counter. It's if you can think of any kind of decent counter to Fade, it's Tundra. Because you sit there, you have a bound eye, you have the Shiver around you, you can obviously counter him because Fade likes to move in and out of the trees. So maybe that's their thinking. They have that Fade. They know that Fade is going to get picked if they don't pick him first out of that lockpick pool. And so that's their thinking. You want to first pick Tundra, have a strong solo mid, and then also have some kind of counter to that Fade.
Yeah. Well, Complexity now back to them as Torture was the second pick coming out here from Domain of Pain. So the Aluna Torture, as he's saying, maybe try to find a hero to pair her up with in that middle lane. I don't know if Torture's that hero necessarily, but we'll see what kind of route they go from there. Now it's back to B-Kid, though. His second and third pick going to be coming up here. Again, you look at the lock pull, there is carry potential, sure, definitely there with the War Beast, with the Wild Soul, so you don't necessarily need to go that here. You're probably going to see that support, whether it's Glacius or somebody else amongst another hero. But
I think actually DoP is in a better position, and the reason is do you first pick Keeper out of that pool? I mean, you're going to have a strong strong Suicide hero as Wild Soul or Keeper, and then you get one plus another very strong hero. You could be, we see all the time a strong Suicide plus a Jungler. And that Suicide can also jungle. It just keeps your options open. And they do go with Hag. Okay, so they went with Glacius and Wretched Hag. They probably wanted that Torture if they couldn't get it, or if they didn't take it from DoP. But Glacius and Wretched Hag, interesting to see what they're going to run as kind of like their carry. I did mention before as Wretched Hag, they play it as if it's a carry. So
yeah, Haxerin does definitely play that. So we'll see if they go that route. But again, you do have a Wild Soul, a War Beast in there, and they could just as easily run one of those two and use those more as their go-to carry if necessary. But Emperor's, both teams have used plenty of time here, both dipping into that reserve time, and it is getting down very, very low. So Emperor will need to make a decision shortly, and it's going to be Arachna apparently. Interesting. So Arachna, I don't even know if you can say the carry of choice. I mean, she is a mix of, she could be a carry, but she could also be a very aggressive roamer ganker or whatnot early on. But Wild Soul's a snap pick of the lock pool. But yeah, what do you make of Arachna?
I don't really like it. You're gonna have the blink from Wretched Hag. Arachna, if they pick maybe a melee Keeper of the Forest, no doubt it's gonna be picked there. Right now, it should be between Warbeast and Fade. And seeing the lane set up, I actually think maybe Warbeast would be better. Because I don't really think the Complexity could run Fade if I'm looking at their lineup. They could run Fade if they go as Jungle Wild Soul, perhaps. Unless it's like a support Fade for Wretched Hag and a dual lane of Glacius. They do go Warbeast. I totally agree with that. So right now, it's probably going to be a Legionnaire. What I expect Complexity to do is run some kind of Legionnaire and then Glacius just helping him out in the jungle, like stacking things for him and all that jazz. It is tempting to take Fade, though. I mean, to see Fade locked this whole time and not picked up is kind of interesting. But I love DoP's lineup, but I just think their Arachna doesn't... I don't know if she really has a place. It's actually not bad against Wild Soul, but I don't know. I would have chosen something a little bit different.
Yeah, again, in this case, you do have that Warbeast, and Fade is going to be the final pick for Complexity, actually. So
okay, so that's going to be a Jungle Wild Soul then. It's probably going to be a Fade Glacius lane, Suicide Tundra, solo.
Oh, they randomed it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Again, this is a case of does Domain of Pain? Are they even going to ask? No, because like he ain't no bitch, as he says all the time, and
yeah,
they're going to stick with it. So may not have been the choice they wanted, but apparently Haxor says they want a Cthulhu font, but they go with Fade in the end. So
well, I think Fade's better than Cthulhu. So
maybe he was trolling there.
I don't know. It's not that bad, honestly. Yeah. They can run a Suicide Tundra, which does suck. Well, I shouldn't say it sucks. It's just not ideal because Tundra with early amounts of farm and having those levels on that Shiver is very effective. But it's not bad. They can have a Fade Glacius lane mid if they wanted to, and that's very strong. And then Jungle Wild Soul is pretty good too. Solo Short Wretched Hag against. Well, it's going to be against the Keeper of the Forest, so if he decides he's going to have to level up that HoN to level 2 at least. But actually, Haxor's getting the wards, so maybe he's going to be in the Suicide role. Ugh. What?
What is going on? Yeah, that is interesting. So we'll see how things eventually go out. Of course, I believe Domain of Pain. Yeah, Domain of Pain going to go to pause it to start things here, but the Arachna goes back to him, of course, being played by Angry Testy. And again, I know a lot of people are looking forward to seeing how he does on Arachna. But as I was stating earlier, I mean, Arachna's kind of an interesting hero in the sense that, yeah, she can be a late game hard carry, definitely. But at the same time, she also could play a very aggressive, more of an anti-carry. You've said this in the past, kind of hero, where, especially with her ultimate and being able to roam around and the web shot, the ultimate, just the mass slow that comes out of that, and the good damage output actually. So this time around, it is being played by Testy, so maybe it is going to be more of a farming and eventually carry status. But I don't know. When you have a war beast, is that even necessary? Is that, I guess, what I'm getting at here. Would you like to see a more aggressive Arachna, basically?
I think you have to be. I think that's the best way to play her. Farming to the late game, she just doesn't. She dies too easily, in my opinion. Now, the cool change with her is that her ultimate still stays after she dies. I think a much-needed change.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I think she's very effective right when she hits level 6. I mean, that ultimate does a lot of damage early on. It's pretty much a guaranteed kill, honestly, every single time you get it cast. If you obviously have that attention to get a kill with it, so it's very easy to do so. Now, as far as the laning goes, probably going to see... I think that Domain of Pain should just start out with a dual lane mid. The dual range of Arachna and Aluna. Aluna can bounce back and forth between top and mid. Probably going to see Torture in the solo top, which is going to crush Wretched Hag if she's up there Suicide. I mean, absolutely obliterate. So the only thing that they're going to have going for them is basically the jungle Wild Soul as well as the free farming Fade, which is fantastic. I mean, Fade with levels on top of the Shiver scouting out, that's a great combination.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely is. And again, what helps make Tundra, especially Moomiander, he is no doubt one of the better Tundra players out there. I mean, he is very active with that Shiver. And it gets a lot of information for his team, as you like to see with the Tundra hero. So, of course, he's also using this this newest skin on Tundra, which is pretty badass. And when he levels up the Cold Shoulder, of course, his weapon starts glowing. So, anyway, side note there. So, yeah, here we are. Domain of Pain versus Complexity. Again, this is a winner's bracket round of 8 here from the Diamond Division. We are in cycle number 1 officially. Which team will move on to the winner's semis? Which team will be knocked down to the loser's bracket? Well, we're just getting things kicked off here in this best out of 3 series. Again, a lot of people I know also tuning in for the fact it's Moomiander versus Angry Texty, a.k.a. Rex Carve Room. over here on the Hellborn side. So gonna be fun, gonna be fun. Here we go, though. It looks like both teams are ready, and now we're gonna get a better idea exactly of where they are going to send one another. So Arachna is headed towards the top lane. Warbeast, of course, going to spawn his minions and scout things out with it. Keeper the Force headed bottom, being played by Jeppins. And he is taking down some War to sites. Jeppins, of course, he's coming off a DreamHack. Speaking of him, by the way. Obviously, he played for TT Esports at the DreamHack event. And, hey, TT Esports finished third overall. Very, very respectable. So nothing to be that ashamed about by any means in a very tough event. And Jeppins, he played solid for the most part, from what I could tell at least. So I'm sure he's it's nice to be back, but at the same time, he enjoyed that experience. So
yeah,
good for him.
Now they're actually sending Arachna to the her short lane. I really feel like Torture would have just done a lot better in the short lane. Now Torture does do, I think, synergizes a bit better in a dual lane situation with the Luna, but I just think Arachna in the short lane doesn't really offer that much. You can't really man up on kills until you hit level 6. And I'm actually very curious to see what Complexity does. It looks like they might just man up and run a dual lane up here, Glacius and Fade, which seems, first of all, very uncomplexity. Like manning up with a dual lane, just a straight-up dual lane in the long lane seems very risky to me, because all that's going to happen is you're going to have just roam for the other support. Like, you're just going to have a dual range lane against that, and you're going to be in your long lane against their short lane. It's just very, very risky, so I don't like that at all. Unless they move to mid, but it looks like Haxer is just going to sit in this middle lane, and then you're going to have Tundra bottom against Keeper the Forest, who does have a hatchet, so Keeper the Forest is going to do fine. They're pulling with Boo Boo, and that's great for them, but I don't like these lanes set up at all from Complexity. Hopefully they can jumpstart something early on to give them a little bit of an edge, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it pans out.
Yeah, Complexity is definitely doing some different things here, and not only that dual lane top, but I mean, again, it's just really how it had to be in the end. But Wild Soul in the jungle, it's not often we see a Wild Soul jungle nowadays. By all means, he can jungle, but we're so used to seeing him suicide, even short lane, as we've seen it a couple of times. But jungle seems like the last thing you would expect in him nowadays. Again, still he's great at it, but a little bit different. But anyways, as you said, we'll see how this works out for Complexity. Glacius, in the meantime, is kind of roaming around, trying to maybe find this Warbeast and heavily harass him. But look at a Luna actually running up. And Glacius will start falling back. So, of course, this is a 1-versus-1 lane mid, and I think Domain of Pain very aware of that. So, of course, Luna already starting to roam. And Torture versus Wretched Hag here middle. Is it safe to say, Torture should still have a very good time?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. He's going to have a fantastic time. Just has more harass, has more damage. Actually, Wretched Hag getting off to a pretty good start, though. But, yeah, Torture should have a fantastic... Right there, you just said the Agonizing Bond. It's a combination of you use it for both CS and harass, so it's just a perfect spell. And lo and behold, what do you know? The movement from a Luna to top. So now you have a dual range lane against this Fade and Glacius lane. So, and look at the harassment. Beacon does not have a does not have a shield, so it's not going to mitigate very much damage coming out. I just don't know how this is going to fare. Like, the one person that you could really guarantee farm on, you're not... He's actually going to get decent farm with this huge wave up here top because of the pull that happened from Chessie with the bear early on. Beacon missing a CS right there. He's going to miss another one right there. Missed a third one, misses a fourth one, misses a fifth. Okay, got a fifth one. So, actually, Glacius knives that one. So, missing a lot of CS right there, unfortunately.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, that was maybe going to be a saving grace for him, but he missed actually quite a bit. So, and in the meantime, you have Arachna, again, being put by Testy here. He's off to a fantastic start. I mean, again, very early on, just over 2 minutes in, but seems like, as you would expect, he's maximizing for the most part his creep kills here. And sure, having this War to Sight blocking that was placed by Franzi, we'll see if it's eventually counter-warded here, or just let it wear out, and then they'll take advantage of the polling and whatnot. But for now, not going to be able to do that just yet. But back to the middle lane, you talked about this. I mean, the Torture, the Agonizing Bonds especially, it's so great for last hitting, but also for the harassment aspect of it. And Wretched Hag taking a lot of damage right there, so Haxer will need to be careful playing the Hag against a very difficult Torture. So yeah, but Beacon on Fade, I mean, he's not going to have the greatest time. In fact, he may be in a little bit of trouble right here if he's not careful. There's a stun. In come the web shots. It's going to be a mass slow. Nice burning shadow stun, actually. And that is going to be the the power throw missing. Sidestep king right there is Beacon. And he barely escapes, but yeah, that was very, very close.
I can't really call that a sidestep. I think that was more of a off the mark, a Luna power snipe.
Yeah.
Actually, in the meantime, now Cheese Helmet in a lot of trouble. The roam from Glacius is too much, and they do get the Bloodlust kill. Haxer getting credit for that, so good roam from Glacius. That could have been a Bloodlust on B-Kid, and you gotta beat yourself up for that.
Yeah.
So, and a good early start there for Haxer, and he's now 10-5 and up against Torture, who's 9-5. So as a result, it's getting even farm and actually more farm because of the Bloodlust. And good way to start the game off for him.
Yeah, as much or as different as these lanes are for complexity, again, getting a start like that's exactly what they really needed because of that, you could say. So that is huge for complexity. And in the meantime, at the bottom lane, Tundra also doing work down here, it seems like. Moon Meter 18-7 compared to the 11-5 Keeper the Forest. He was even pressuring the tower a little bit right here, and not necessarily doing damage to it. But the creep wave was pushed up, and he was just farming creeps next to it in the meantime. So he's definitely having a great time down there. And again, Tundra is a scary hero, especially if he gets off to that great start. The vision that he provides and the very aggressive ganks he can help set up is very, very deadly. So we'll see if that comes into play. Meanwhile, back to the top lane. Another stun coming out onto Fade right here. Another Burning Shadows onto Arachna, and it will be enough to get away. Yes, it will. She's just a little bit too fast. The power throw again going to be dodged right there by Fade. Another auto attack coming out. So Fade is still on the run, actually. Power throw coming up in 3 seconds. Can they maybe oh, Fade running back in, actually. What is Beacon doing? Oh, and he will fall. Okay, yeah. Apparently, apparently he lagged. Yeah, I believe him. I mean, that was just very odd decision. And
I'm gonna say it makes up for the fact that he should have been dead twice before that already. Like the power throw missing twice. Yeah, I don't know. He should have been dead, but that is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Hey, but shit happens. So
exactly. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, clearly that was lag. I mean, I don't think anyone could deny that. I wouldn't make that move, but well, he gets taken out. So we are now looking at a 1-to-1 game here, of course, as a result of what just happened. But yeah, I mean, Arachna, on the other hand, again, being played by Testy, free farm here. It's 313 gold per minute. The creep farm obviously up there by quite a bit, 28 and 15 now. And being involved in that 1 assist. So things looking very good in that sense here. And then actually, again, the top lane will need to be careful. You got Fade, needs to fall back. It's just a very difficult lane for him to be in. And it's showing as this game progresses on here. Now, Torch in the meantime in the middle, and the Bat Blast even going to be used. Cheese Helmet will end up falling here as the final auto attack comes out for Haxerin. So at least Franzi's making the best of the situation in that case. He's roaming mid and helping to set up some kills onto Cheese Helmet there.
Shout out to WZA. Wretched Hag Glacius Lane does work. I have to make that plug, so I hope you're watching.
Yes. Inside joke, inside joke. Yeah. No, but again, on the serious note, I mean, Franzi's doing a great job. As like I said, as odd as the lanes may be, he's making the best of it, roaming to the mid, and he's set up both of those kills. Without him, Wretched Hag very likely would not have gotten those kills. So good job in there. And actually, Fade is now adjusting mid, so maybe they're switching things up. No, now he's going to the jungle, so he just wants to find farm somewhere, I guess.
Yeah. Chesty, in the meantime, having a fantastic jungle. I haven't really been watching him, but I'm just looking at the numbers, and he is farming really, really well. Already has 1,800 gold saved up. So I've watched him a little bit. He's doing a good job about killing creep camps, or killing creeps outside of their spawn area, so he's able to maximize his farm and do good that way. See right there, he's actually killing the creeps. He's dragging them outside, making sure they die outside of the spawn so that he can utilize that spawn once again at the next minute. So as a result, he's got another 1,900 gold, only 7 minutes in.
So I think it's safe to say the Mock of Brilliance is on its way here.
Absolutely.
For Chesty playing that Wild Soul. So of course, in the Sword of the High first, and then soon after, Chain Reaction stun in the meantime in the middle lane. Wretched Hag not going to fall. The blink away right as the last auto attack was coming out will keep Haxerin alive, but it shows you the burst damage potential just a Torture alone. Now, the power throw did not come out from a Luna action now that I think about it. So, or did it? Maybe it didn't. Maybe it did initially. So maybe I'm just I would like to think it did.
Well, it's 110 mana, so I couldn't see how she regened that much mana that quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if she did actually. Maybe not. Yeah, it seems like Fitzkate's been a little bit off when it comes to the power throw. I mean, you see right there, it does connect and doing some damage to Wretched Hag, but not maximized. But Arachna is, again, free farming here at the top lane in the meantime. How worried does the Legion team need to be about that?
Not too worried. I mean, it is scary. It is a free farming hero, but basically you have a free farming Tundra as well. And you have a free farming Wild Soul as well. Wretched Hag's got a couple kills under. She's not really free farming, but she has 2 kills, and they have a lot of burst potential. They have a lot of blink burst potential coming out from this team. In the meantime, actually, who is that? No, not Cheese Helmet, but that's Jeppins is actually in a lot of trouble using the ultimate. He does have the Invis. Do they have any Words of Revelation? They do have a Dust, but the duration is over. Jeppins is going to be fine for now. He walks away. The Dust is still on cooldown. Obviously, they could not kill him in time. That was 4 heroes down there. A lot of resources used. Jeppins will get away.
I was watching it the whole way through. In the meantime, Wretched Hag will fall. Then Fitzgate does connect for the kill right there. watching it the whole time. It was coming for the gank. It looked like it was going to be so easy for Complexity, especially with the dust. But I got to say, B-Kid made a big mistake. He completely whiffed the Burning Shadows.
Did he?
And because of that, Keeper of the Forest ended up surviving, as we saw. So that was the big play right there. Jeppins no doubt played it very well, but if B could just landed that Burning Shadows, that was 100% dead. So unfortunate miss right there for Complexity. Now in the meantime, the top tower going to be pushed in as Emperor, you said earlier, plays a great War Beast.
He really does.
He's level 7. He comes to the lane, assists Arachna, and pushes the tower. Meanwhile, back to the bottom. Nope, Keeper of the Forest just sitting here defending it. Big plays for Diamond Ro8, and it's showing in the golden experience right now. Look at them just beating on the Boo-Boo here.
And actually, yeah, beating on the Boo-Boo. They're just trying to get this tower.
Nice.
Good TP coming out. Do they have the glyph? I don't know if they do. They do actually have the glyph. This could be a huge mistake for Moonmeander. He wants to get the kill nonetheless. He doesn't get it, but they still get the credit for the tower. But good response from Domain of Pain. That's what you have to do. You can't just give up towers like that. At least get something for it. So Moonmeander, he should not have really been playing up that far. Yes, he wanted the tower. It was kind of lucky that they still got the tower kill, but say if it's a different scenario, like you actually get the tower denied and you die, then you look back in retrospect, okay, that was a huge mistake. So he got a little bit lucky, but yeah.
Yeah, like I said, at least it went down in their favor, but it's still committing, well, giving up his life to make that happen, really. Arachna, so using this farm, what do you make of this? Helm of the Black Legion picked up.
Absolutely love it.
On Arachna.
I love it. I think it's a perfect pickup. A long time ago when Helm of the Black Legion got changed too so that you get charges, it was much better for ranged heroes. And the first person, or the first hero I thought of, like, who could utilize this and make it effective? It's Arachna. I absolutely love the pickup. Like I mentioned before, she was pretty squishy, and against heroes like Wretched Hag, Fade, being able to go through with the clear vision from her ultimate, and if you get a blink onto or a portal key onto Tundra, it's going to be very effective to take her down. But no, she's actually pretty damn tanky now, so I absolutely love that pickup.
Yeah, so, and again, it's showing on the GPM, 350 gold per minute, and now just continue to farm in the jungle. In the meantime, Ring of Sorcery just purchased by Keeper of the Forest. Double damage Beacon here on Fade, but not going to be able to make too much use of it. He does have his early striders. Again, this is just very Beacon-like in general. And a lot of heroes that he plays, he likes to go with those early striders. Meantime, Chessie, though, getting caught here in the jungle. Going to go ulti for him. It's not going to be enough, though. In comes the chain reactions on top of the agonizing bonds. And great assistance from Torturer, setting up, or getting the kill after Keeper of the Forest set it up. Now, they are in a little bit of a tough spot, although Torturer is going to be invis with the Nature's Veil. And actually, Keeper of the Forest is going to be spotted out. That dust does get him, and I don't think Jeppins is getting away this time. They better get the kill this time. In fact, yeah, there we go. So, a lot of taunts coming out right there.
Yeah.
And they got it. But at least Torturer was able to escape out of there.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of resources used. Yeah. So they only used basically 2 resources, or 2 heroes, I should say, to get that kill on the Chessie, who, by the way, I'm pretty sure like had his Sword of the High. Like, it was maybe 100 gold away. I'm not 100% sure. But basically 2 heroes used to kill 1, and then you traded it for 4, basically actually 5 heroes because Chessie was down there. So there was 5 heroes amidst their own jungle. So a lot of resources used. Definitely a huge huge favor for Domain of Pain. And in the meantime, you have Bryce, who's been a little bit more quiet. Usually we see him actually quite active with that ultimate, but hasn't really found an opening just yet, and just content in farming right now.
Well, I think the biggest thing is to remember, I mean, the top lane was basically disbanded. They just left Arachna up there, so it's not like there was heroes up there for him to help gank even. I mean, he did push the tower with Arachna, but after that it's like, well, I guess I'll just continue to farm because there's nothing more for me to do, really. So that's kind of what he's done, and you see right there he has boots, he has a bolstering armband, so Steam Boot's going to be finished here in the near future on top of that Abyssal Skull. Yeah, he's been quiet, but it is paying off. I mean, 300 gold per minute, looking pretty good. So him, and then again, we keep going back to Arachna, but even Torturer up there at 285, being played by, is that Cheese someone? Yeah, Heimer here. It's got a Steam Boots, Talisman of the Exile, and the Mystic Vestment. So definitely a lot of positives here coming out for Domain of Pain. Complexity, on the other hand, though, what are their positives? Well, you talked about earlier the Tundra, the free-farming Tundra for the most part. Moonmeander is definitely showing there. 336 gold per minute as he is on his way to possibly a Portal Key. No, he's going to go to the side shop right here. Okay, just a Homecoming Stone. So he has Steam Boots, Bottle, Ring of the Teacher, maybe a Portal Key going to be coming next in line for him. Sword of the High is just about picked up here on Chessie. In fact, after the Skeleton King, there we go. I'm sure we'll see it purchased and then delivered, but he's still working on that.
Yeah, they're actually going to try to defend this push, as they definitely should. Ring of the Teacher up on Moonmeander. At first, I hated it. I was like, why would you waste that gold? Sword of the High is up. Can they get the deny? No, they cannot. Jeppins actually gets it with a Tree Dog, so definitely good exchange for them. You have Hag in the meantime. They didn't. It looks like they didn't even really want to fight that. They just want to try to get the lucky deny and then just continue their farming. But in the meantime, they actually closed the experience gap quite nicely. It's about 1,500 and 1,600, respectively, in gold and experience in favor of Domain of Pain right now. Sword of the High has been purchased, as I mentioned, for Wild Soul. Yeah, oh yeah, the Ring of the Teacher on Moon. At first I was like, it's a waste of 500 gold. He could have already has a blink by now, but who else can really buy a Ring of the Teacher? Maybe Hag, but you know, you want a really, really fast Hellflower, and Hag, you have to have a lot of build-up items on her as well. So the Ring of Teacher is going to be good for pushing, as well as the extra armor against, well, War Beast in particular.
Well, and not to mention Hag also was middle, and of course with the bottle because of that, you could say, and
it's another item
slot. Control. So yeah, deciding to go with the Ring of the Teacher on the Thunder Step, but it is coming up quickly here. And he will have that portal key shortly. I mean, speaking of portal key, look, maybe Fate is also going for the portal key first item. As I said, with the Striders, that's typical Beacon route. He's had a horrible game when it comes to farm, at least. It's still only at 175 gold per minute, but he is about nearly 1,600 gold saved up here. So
yeah,
a couple of portal keys could be coming up here in the near future for the Legion's side. As oh, look at this, the Glacial Downpour even being used to assist with the Ancients right here. In fact, Glacia's got a good amount of those. I saw some teal dollar signs popping up right there, so gonna be able to take it. In fact, he has now more farm than Fate even.
Does he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not the best at gaming, like I said, in terms of farming for him. But there's the portal key purchase on Tundra after that, so that's of course going to be a big item for them.
Strider's power supply up on Glacius, that's good for him. And yeah, look at B-Kid. He just wants, he just knows the essentials. Like, what are the essentials? It's just get me a portal key, and then I'll do work. He's not going to buy any other build-up items. He has his upgraded boots, which is just fine. It's very cheap. But other than that, nope, just straight portal key. He's almost got it. Another 300 gold.
Yeah, he's just about there. That's a great way to put it, you know, with just getting the essentials off the bat. Wild Soul's always so deceptive. I like look at him as like, he has 0 items, but I really wish there was a way maybe to see the Boo Boo inventory. But anyways, maybe in the future. Sort of the high, though, obviously sitting on Boo Boo. So he's getting close now to that Mock of Brilliance. Maybe about a 17-minute Mock or so. Not too bad for Chessie, especially considering he died earlier on, remember. That'll be huge. Arachna does continue to farm. Now, I will say it doesn't seem like Ingrid farm is taking off by any means. And I don't know. That is a little bit surprising to me. I mean, she has just been basically farming this whole game, and it's not – it just doesn't seem like it's showing in the GPM at least.
I agree, and it's just the simple fact that you can't clear stuff with an Arachna. Like, she doesn't farm quickly. Unless you get a farming tool like Alchemist Bones, which I actually think are very good on her. But, in the meantime, what do we have here? Jeppin's in a little bit of trouble. He's got his actually Ghost Marcher, so I actually love that pickup. But a lot of complexity heroes are in the way. Fate does pick up that portal key, so that's going to be good for him. And they need actually a bound die up on Fate. That would be really, really effective. Or, of course, the Tundra. But yeah, back to Arachna. She just doesn't really have that many farming tools. It's just auto attack, single target. And for that reason, you can't really farm triple stack Ancients quickly. You can't really push up lanes quickly or things like that.
Yeah. Top lane. Glacius has ran back and forth right by the Keeper of the Forest several times, but obviously he's sitting there invis, and Jeppins he wants to make something happen, but he really doesn't have the support nearby. And in fact, he's going to block Fate a little bit right there, so I wonder if you maybe thought something's up. But in the end, he's going to start roaming mid, as you do have a Luna and Torture. Torture is working on that tablet, by the way. We do see the Major Totem and the Neophytes book, so going to have that soon. His second Arcana purchased by Haxorin. So speaking of, good farm, he's up there. He's been up there with Arachna, being played by Testy. 366 gold per minute. Hellflower is definitely on the way here, so good news for complexity, of course. And actually with the tower kill right there, even closer. So the gold, man, basically identical. The experience is slightly still ahead for Domain of Pain, but it's a very, very close game. Boo Boo's going to get caught out right here. He has that Mock of Brilliance, but oh my god. He is just bursted down by 4 players here on the Hellborn side. And now they're actually going to push the tower here in the meantime. Yeah,
but, I mean, that tower up top, they didn't really get, unless they get this tower quickly and then defend the next one, then they'll be fine. But they need to be ready and set up earlier. That's what Complexity does a really good job about. They're setting up the defense early. Oh, there you go. Just as I talked about that, they already have 2 people just TP right up there, ready to defend. Keeper of the Forest. Yeah, okay, that was fantastic. That is exactly what I was just talking about. So they got a tower. They did trade, which is not favorable because they were ahead. Oh, he could have canceled it. Yes, actually the ultimate does come out from Keeper of the Forest. Beacon might not really be in the most trouble, but the stun comes out, misses.
Yeah.
But he does use the ultimate, so it does waste a lot of his time, not to mention his ganking potential because he was forced to ult there.
Meantime, at the bottom lane, Warby, it's a bad blast, even using ulti forms. Is it going to be enough to get away, though? I don't know. The dot is ticking down, and in blinks, Ratchet Ag, the final out of attack guarantees it. and down goes Emperor on that War Beast. So that definitely was favorable for Complexity, especially with the middle tower going down right there. That really did work out for Complexity. So very well played by them. And again, it's still just practically identical both in Golden Experience. But Wretched Hag he's going to have a Hellflower here very, very shortly.
Yeah.
And that is quick.
Top farm,
18.5 minutes.
Top farm in the game. Almost 400 gold per minute was there for just a second. And I got to say still, like, even though it's been a very passive game in general, I just feel like it's not really the same War Beast that I see from Emperor. Usually I see him constantly trying to set up kills. Maybe that means sitting around Keep of the Forest when he ultis, or sitting around Torturer, or even Arachna trying to set up a kill with the ultimate from her. But yeah, I just see him be a lot more active. Not to say that War Beast with just farming, getting lots of items is bad, because it's not. I mean, that hero has a lot of late game potential, but it just is interesting to see him play it this way.
Yeah, and I don't know, to me too, it's also the case of, again, like you said, this has tended to be a little bit more of a passive game, and maybe that ultimately is the reason, but Arachna, I mean, this is not a hero. It makes me ultimately just wonder why they picked up Arachna if, in the end, they're just going to sit back and farm with her. It just seems like there are just better options out there. You know, several of them were banned, of course, but you still have Forsaken Archer, you know, Moon Queen, we've seen a lot, you have Flint Beast, what we've even seen earlier today, I mean. So, and Arachna just seems like she's so beneficial if you're early on aggressive with her, but that definitely hasn't been the case. Granted, they kill Congor right there, by the way. I mean, he just dropped fairly quickly, actually, and it is a very quick Congor killing team, so not too surprising. But yeah, Token of Life now on Arachna, and that's of course going to be huge for Domain of Pain at least.
The one thing I will say about Arachna is that, you know, she does have some hard carry late game potential if she gets all the items up, which it just takes forever. But she lanes really well. Like, you saw top lane, it Fade Glaciers, which is a strong lane. It did go long lane, which I think is terrible. But, you know, just by itself, Fade Glaciers is a very strong lane. But having that dual range between a Luna as she transitioned up there and just the orb you get from that web shot, it just and then, of course, the damage from your precision just it makes it really difficult to lane against. And actually, they counted that ward that was blocking the range, and I didn't even see it there. But Fitz doing a good job counter-warding that. So, yeah, she just lanes really well. But I agree with you. I think if you're going to pick a farming-style hero and kind of take it to the late game, you should maybe think about something else. And as a result, even though they seem to feel like they have control of this game, like I feel like they had control of this game, but they're actually losing now, slightly in Golden Experience.
Yeah, it's the stats don't lie. I mean, again, it's very even, so it kind of has just been swaying back and forth. But again, if anything, you know, the fact that complexity is even does explain that. So. Domain of Pain, though, apparently this is a time. So they're tired of hearing us, you know, criticize them for maybe not playing more aggressive. And here we go. They're going to group up and make something happen down here. War Beast, of course, he's level 11, so has a level 2 ultimate now, and more time in his ulti form as a result. The Battle Cry also, I'm sure, just going to be spammed. It's still level 1, but still very useful at the same time. In fact, there we go, especially with all the minions. The tower just melts. So the secondary tower going to go down. Now, in the meantime, with the top lane, it's also falling in favor of Complexity, and they'll basically make it a 1-for-1 exchange. And as the middle secondary tower also goes down. So 2-for-1 exchange right there, all on secondary towers in favor of Complexity, but Domain of Pain is knocking on the door. The base tower dropping half life. Again, just look at how quickly it is falling right here. Is Complexity going to be able to defend it? No, they're not. It's going to fall. And actually a jump in from Fade right there with the Portal Key. The Burning Shadows comes out. There's a Battle Blast. Well landed right there, but the Root going to come out now. And War Beast charges in. Chandra the back up with a great avalanche. It's going to be enough damage on a Haxrin. No, she blinks away. Now Arachna does fall, but again, Token of Life going to bring her right back up. And here come the web shots. She's already used her ultimate. She's going to finish out Chandra right there. Wild Soul now in a lot of trouble, actually. In comes the web shots again. War Beast pounding in with the auto attacks. He's going to come out of ulti form though, but now Wretched Hag is back in as well as Tundra. Tundra buying back, and now Arachna's on the run, and I think Angry Tessie may have overcommitted a little bit too much right there. Angry Tessie's going to get caught, and Arachna will fall. War Beast and Keeper going to try to pour it out. War Beast, no, the Hellflower applied, and he will too be taking out. So Complexity holds it off in the end, and they fight strong there at their base.
That's what I'm talking about. They had good lanes. They played it well up to this point, and you know, I will say the precision aura actually does work when you have other ranged heroes, because you can sit from far away and not have to worry about the uphill misses on the tower. But you didn't kill Hag. She blinked away. She went back to the well. Why are you sitting in that fight? She's just going to come back and own face. And that's what happened. They should have just ran away after they didn't get that kill on Hag. And even then, if they did, you got to be worried about buyouts. So
yeah,
just because you can't get the racks doesn't mean you can't get them later. You know, you obviously have a very strong pushing team. And, yeah, they just overstayed their welcome.
Yeah, well, they definitely did, and we see right here, I mean, just how quickly things can change. They were just knocking on the door of the Hellborn team, or the Legion side, and All of a sudden, Complexity's taking it right back to Domain of Pain. They're pushing the base. In fact, they're going to jump right here. The Hellfire onto Torture. Torture just gets bursted down to the ground. Absolutely no chance. Keeper of the Forest caught off to the side. The Ice Imprisonment locking him down. He'll be fine in the end, it looks like. As a pour comes in from Torture, buys back. Chain reactions hits Tundra. And Moon Meander may fall. Nice deny the tower there in the meantime. Whoa. And actually, yeah, Moon will fall. Bound Eye even dropping on top of that. Arachna Ultimate wasn't even used. So Glacius able to pour it out, and the rest will get away. But hey, I mean, Domain of Pain does make a hold of their base in that extent. And they did lose a tower, though. But both teams kind of going a little bit aggressive there.
Yeah, I mean, that was also a mistake, staying too late, or staying too long, I should say, from Complexity right there. But they do have a substantial lead, and like I talked about, Wretched Hag, they like to play him to the late game, and it's a very effective hero in the late game. I mean, just, you know, go back to about, what, 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, when, maybe not that long, about 5 minutes ago when Wretched Hag had that Hellflower. It's a blink sheep, sort of. To blink, lock you down, do more damage, and that if you want that on any other hero, like say Bubbles, you have to spend a lot more gold to do that. So it's just a fantastic hero as you get approached.
Domain of Pain does not want to waste any time, though. They just group right back up and they start marching towards the base of Complexity. They're going to push that tower, so only one more outer tower now remaining at top, of course. But they're going to fall back from there. So yeah, I mean, Domain of Pain making it very clear that they're not going to let their foot off the throttle necessarily. And they're going to keep Complexity on their heels here. Shrunken Head finish on Haxtran. Haxtran really has been having an impressive game. 476 gold per minute on that Wretched Hag. Shrunken Head Hellfire already. We're only 24.5 minutes in here.
Shrunken Head's going to be good strictly against basically Keeper, like getting out of that Keeper ulti. It does do mitigate a lot of damage from Torture as well, but I mean, you're going to have Warbeast pounding in on you. You're going to have the ultimate from Arachna, however you want to say it. I say Arachna because that's what the announcer says.
Good point.
So, anyway, no, that was an illusion.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it's still a fine pickup. I mean, Shrunken Head, I'm never going to complain.
Yeah, of course not. Arachna actually does have a Geometer's Bane now, which that's what the illusions were right there. Shrunken Head just finished on Warbeast as well, so that's another big item.
That's a huge item
in this game, yeah. But Complexity, again, they're going to knock on the door, and the melee racks can start to take some damage. Of course, Boo Boo in the front lines. He has a Soul's Bulwark now on top of that Mock of Brilliance. So doing plenty of damage to the tower, as you would expect. Or in this case, the racks. In fact, the chain reaction is going to be used. I want to try to pick off Boo Boo, but ain't going to happen. Torture pulled them in even, but no follow-up to go. Boo Boo will end up falling here. And actually, Wild Soul will just go ahead and resurrect him. Of course, now on a 2-minute cooldown, needs to be careful that he doesn't get picked off again. So we'll see if Complexity decides to stand in here. I mean, the melee racks is actually very, very low. So they want to try to maybe send in Boo Boo again and get those kills. But again, if Boo Boo gets caught out, then Wild Soul will be fairly useless until he comes back up. So they're going to fall back, and Domain of Pain will successfully yet again defend, at least for now.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Void Talisman up onto B-Kid. Like, he just, like I said, understands the essentials. Not trying to get anything fancy. I'm actually surprised his farm is this good.
Yeah,
but that's going to be really, really good against Warbeast. So they really need a blink portal key up onto the Keeper of the Forest.
Look what Jeppins is doing here with the trees. It's like a freaking wall of tree dogs. And it's like a barrier that's holding them off. The courier goes in, but
that is kind of funny.
Dies quickly. So hey, I mean, hey, it works. It blocked the creep wave right there. It aggroed them, and he has them on hold as well. So they're not even attacking back. They're just they're literally just a wall there. So. Hey, some smart plays coming out, and again they hold it off. So both teams still they apply some pressure to the other team's base, but in the end, all the racks are still up here. As you said, though, the Shrunken Head pickup on Warbeast, that is a huge pickup coming out here for Domain of Pain. So I'm sure we'll see some great use out of that. And another 1,700 gold now on Arachna. So again, her farm hasn't necessarily been like take off as you may expect because of just the free farm that she had, but she is at 420 gold per minute now. Yeah, it is going up. So
I think that's a good number to have, considering the fact, like I mentioned, she doesn't really have any farming abilities. It's just auto attack single target units. So yeah, I think it's fine. And as far as next item goes, honestly, I think Hellflower would be awesome. Like, it does give you good damage. It does give you attack speed as well. And just having another lockdown ability. Actually, that's really the only real lockdown ability that they have, other than an open stun from Torturer.
Yeah.
So I honestly feel like Hellflower would be good. I don't think that she's going to get it, but just throwing that out there.
What about something like an Assassin Shroud?
No, absolutely not.
Come on, not the TMM build?
No, you already have lots of anti-vision coming out from the Legion team because of Keeper of the Forest, so getting a Shroud, and it doesn't really give you that much damage, especially at this point in the game. So.
All right, fair enough. We'll see. We'll see where he decides to go. Portal key picked up by Keep of the Force right there. Yeah, another big item pickup definitely, and pretty good timing because it looks like Complexity. They're gonna go for the melee racks. Will they defend? Here we go. Domain of Pain jumps in. Oh, the Shrunken Head coming out from Wretched Hag. The Bat Blast turn around. Arachna in the background gonna start pounding damage to Wretched Hag. Will she survive? At least she blinks away. And in the meantime, Arachna just sitting her ground. Warby's now chasing this Tundra. Tundra looks like is gonna fall right here as a result. And actually, the Complexity may be somewhat on the run. Wretched Hag thinking about going back in, but she's fairly low on life. So wants to be careful. Of course, Aluna's already dead there. Jumps to Fade right there. Burning Shadows on a Torturer. But Torturer just going to stand his ground. And Boo Boo may actually fall. And Boo Boo's going to be dead now. 102-second cooldown on Wild Soul. So that this is not a fight Complexity wants to continue. And they are going to fall back. So, well, may the Rex did die, though.
The damage has been done. They got the Rex. They got the kill exchange. And then they also got a buyout from Heimer. Cheese Helmet did buyout. He's actually gone through 2 buyouts. I missed the first one, but that buyout right there is going to hurt. Especially in a Torture where it's 30 minutes in and you don't really have a real item. Like, you have a push book, and that's great, but as a solo mid against in the favorable lane that you had, especially against Hag, you know, he was ganked a lot, but he simply needs a little bit more farm than this.
Yeah.
The 310 gold per minute he has is a little bit deceptive because of the 2 bios he's already used, so that's one thing to note, but looks like he's going to go for a Shrunken Head right away, seeing how that Hag can basically just jump in and kill him instantly using all those spells. So Complexity off to a I can't really say good start because it is approaching that mid to late game.
Yeah.
But, you know, getting that racks, and it's not taken over just yet. About 4,000 gold, almost 5,000 experience, but still plenty of game left to be played.
You made a good point earlier. It's been a little bit now, but when when Domain of Pain was pushing the bottom lane, the level 4 aura from Arachna, having that true strike as a result of being level 4 is actually very important to remember. For pushing uphill like that into the base, the fact that you won't be missing, that is a pretty big deal for not only herself, but Torturer for Luna. So that definitely will and already has come into play, in fact. So something to keep in mind. Again, though, we are still waiting to see what Angry Testy playing this Arachna will go for next. He has about 3,000 gold saved up now. So clearly saving up for something fairly big. But we will see. Don't know just yet.
It'll probably be a Savage Mace. That's my guess.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's probably a Savage Mace from him. Actually, in the meantime, looks like Hacksher was in a lot of trouble there from Arachna.
Yeah.
Uses that ultimate. Obviously, you can use the Shrunken Head or whatnot, but it's going to be just fine as that Spider marches his way on bottom, but is unfortunately going to die a miserable death.
It's Jason. No, it's dead. It explodes. What about a portal key on Arachna?
Nah. I mean, you're going to be like a large source of damage. Warbeast obviously pumps out damage as well, but can get kited quite easily, and then you have the Void Talisman on to B-Kid, and then the superior ultimate for Avalanche coming out from Tundra. So, I mean, basically your main source of damage is going to have to come from this Arachna, so you need damage.
Yeah.
Now, Savage Mace would be great. I really do feel like Hellfire would be awesome to lock someone down like Hag. Oh, actually, the ultimate coming out onto Boo Boo. He's going to try to deny this tower as well, and Boo Boo will fall. A couple more auto attacks. Yep, he will die.
And nice. And again, Boo Boo's now dead for another 60 seconds here, pretty much. So Chessie's just going to go in the jungle and start auto attacking. He does have the Warp Cleft on himself, actually. So
yeah.
That'll be the good thing there. But yeah, good. They're not afraid to use a bit here on Boo Boo when they get the chance, and we've seen that now a couple times. So making it very clear that Boo Boo is an important hero, and as he definitely is, or definitely a big part of Complexity's lineup at least. What did I just see? Shrunken Head on Arachna. So he does not go the Savage Mace. Goes more of the safer route, defensive route, Shrunken Head.
Okay.
So
I think that's fine.
That.
I think that's not that bad, honestly. You can go in there, run in there, not have to worry about Wretched Hag dishing out a lot of damage. Because if she gets that Bat Blast on you, you're kind of in retreat mode right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Which means you're not doing any damage. So if you're dead, if you're running away, obviously you're not doing any damage, so damage items don't really make any difference. So, yeah, actually it's a fine pickup.
And now they just killed a Shiver right next to Congor, so obviously Complexity very aware that this is maybe happening, but this is a very quick Congor killing team if they commit to it. So they need to be a little bit careful right here, though. Complexity thinking about maybe making a move. You see Tundra with some illusions, scouting it out. Here comes another Shiver, going to be Invis, and actually will, again, spot them. So Domain of Pain not really committing to this by any means. Just going to be in a tipsy-topsy with it. This will be the second kill, I believe, so no bananas just yet, but of course, the all-important token of life, that's what you're really going for. But But yeah, Complexity in the meantime, though, they're just going to play pretty patient themselves. While this is happening, Wretched Hag will just continue to farm. And this is Complexity has done this from time to time lately. They play more of just a farming Wretched Hag and even carry potential. And it has worked in the past, and it is on the way to perhaps working again here for Complexity. As Haxer at 510 go per minute now. It just goes up and up, man. Haxer continuing to play very, very well here for Complexity.
Yeah, I think the scariest thing, too, is I mentioned that Arachna's not bad against Wild Soul, but now that I think about it, it doesn't really make a difference because even if you put the ultimate on a Wild Soul, you're still running at basically max movement speed on your Boo-Boo. And that's who you're building items on anyway. So, yeah, you're going to slow him. You're not going to kill him, that's for sure. Unless you all focus him, which I don't know if that's really the smart thing to do. You're going to have to kill Hag. It's a pretty easy target if you're Domain of Pain. Like, who do we kill? You got to kill Hag. So that's the good thing going for them, which they can do. But they, like I said, they don't really have a lockdown ability. They have nothing to catch him and catch him before he casts that Shrunken Head. And that's the scary thing. They can catch him with an ultimate from Keeper, but obviously he's just going to pop right out of it with that Shrunken. So,
man, this Shiver Fade combination. In fact, here we go right here. Warby is going to be jump. Kenny at least countered into this. Then comes a Bat Blast. There's a Ritho in the background. And Arachna sitting back here, pounding in some auto attacks herself. Glacius is going to start falling. Tundra already picked off. In the meantime, Warby's and Torture have fallen, but now Arachna with that Shrunken Head pounding into Wretched Hag. Wretched Hag will blink away. Fade comes in with a Burning Shadow stun. And a Wild Soul in the background also falling back. Keeper the Force, though, he is in a lot of trouble. He'll be taken out with a coL right there. And Arachna, the sole survivor, just going to run back to base. Wretched Hag blinking in. But I believe Arachna will be fine. To see Boo-Boo with that Mocker Blaze just chasing him down. But buyback coming out for Keeper the Forest. They're going to try to maybe do something here at the ranged racks. But I don't believe it's... they probably will hold it off for now, actually, as the Boo-Boo once again gets killed. Going to be brought back to by Wild Soul. And that'll be that. We'll see Complexity. They may be interested, though, in trying to finish out Congor now. I don't know. It's going to be close. I just don't think they have enough damage to do it quick enough. So they're just going to fall back, actually, and continue to farm here.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like, honestly, that was a risky play by B-Kid, by jumping in like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, obviously he has clear vision and stuff from his ulti. I don't know if he was exactly in ulti form, but if you get that Shrunken Head up on Warbeast and then immediately turn, obviously he has the Void Talisman, but that Keeper Root's going to keep you in place long enough to cancel that out, and then you just bash on him and whatnot. Also, Arachna ulted like the 20% HP Glacius that was going to die. And there was a Shrunken Head activated Wretched Hag just sitting there pounding auto attacks, and actually if it was used on him, pretty sure Wretched Hag would have died in a matter of seconds, so kind of a waste of an ult there from Arachna.
Yeah, and actually that brings up a good point that it seems like to me, what do you think about, I mean, if you're Arachna, you should always be saving your ultimate for Wretched Hag. I mean, not only for the slow, but the attack speed slow, and especially in this case where Wretched Hag is becoming more and more that right-click damage threat.
Exactly.
The attack speed slow will be huge. So, yeah, you got to question that a little bit, what Ingrid thinking and using it on a low-life Glacius that's already dead. So, yeah, if it was me, you would think, if you're Arachna, your sole purpose of that ultimate is simply in those fights, get it on Wretched Hag at all costs. So.
Yeah. Now, the biggest issue there was just simply Emperor dying before anything happened.
Yeah, of course.
That was the biggest issue, and that needs to not happen. The Token of Life is up on Torture, another 630 gold or so, and he'll have that Shrunken Head, which is very needed. But at this point, as you get to the late game with Wild Soul and Wretched Hag, it becomes a point of, if you can't burst down Hag quickly enough, you're going to die so fast to this Boo-Boo, who does have a Demonic, and probably going to go for a Basher after that. It's going to be hard to coordinate these fights.
Well, for the time being, Domain of Pain, though, they're going to, again, start breaking into the base here. Somewhat pushing middle. Nope, they're going to transition to bottom, actually. They want to go for the open, exposed racks. You see the W being used there by Warbeast. He's sitting in the background. They split up from Arachna, but here we go. Burning Shadows coming in. The Shrunken Head going to be used by Warbeast, though. In the background, a freeze actually on a Luna. There's the invulnerability. In comes the Avalanche coming up for Tundra, but in the background, Torture. There's the Root coming up for Keeper the Forest, though. In the foreground, Arachna now pending the auto attacks on a Wretched Hag. The Bat Blast going to go off, but the Shrunken Head and Arachna, she does not care. Going to now pound into Fade. Fade is going to barely fall. No, somehow still alive. But look at Boo-Boo. As you said, Boo-Boo's doing so much damage now. Health bars applied to Arachna. He's pretty much going all in for the rack skill, which you will get, but he sacrifices his life to do so. Torture's also going to drop there. Again, I mean, is it worth it? They just got genocided because they just committed so much there into taking out a melee racks.
Yeah, I just don't know. I feel like they're just kind of desperate. Like, they're in desperate mode. And you don't have to be in desperate mode. Just because you're down one rack. That's really nothing, especially in a game like this. Like, it's relatively early on. Anything can happen at this point. You can still burst down Wretched Hag. You just need the coordination and, more importantly, need the items. Like, You need some kind of lockdown to kill Hags.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to find a contender to really do that. The only one I can find is maybe a Sheep on Torture or a Hellflower on Arachna. But at this point, after that engagement, it's going to be near impossible to win a team fight because Wild Soul is going to do so much damage. Like you mentioned, Wretched Hag is hitting for max 245. That's more than Arachna. So, yeah.
Oh, Fate jumping in onto a Luna right here. In comes that Wretched Hag, but Warbeast actually countering an ulti form, doing a decent amount of damage. He's trying to maybe get somebody killed. Cupid the Force also joining the party. Not going to be enough, though, as Wretched Hag just blinks away. We'll be fine. Of course, they got the tower in the meantime, so again, in that sense, damage somewhat done. And the Luna would have to wait to resurrect for another 40 seconds or so. As was there any buybacks used there? I want to say Keeper the Force bought back, but I'm not exactly
he bought back
sure.
once earlier.
Yeah,
so.
Maybe that was earlier, but anyways.
I wasn't really paying attention either. It could have been Testy. He has lost a buyback as well.
Actually, yeah, I think it might have been him there who did that. He actually has that's a punch dagger on him. So
yeah, he's gonna go for Rift Shards.
Rift Shards, yeah. At this point, well, it seems like he could definitely start using some damage. I mean, with a Helm of the Black Legion first, and then even a Shrunken Head later on. Not necessarily the biggest damage output from those items, so.
It's just too little. Like I talked about, the problem with Arachna is you need like full items to really contend at the late game, and because she has no farming abilities or farming tools, like unless you get a Hand of Midas, which I still think is a great item on her, you're not gonna win in the late game. I mean, she's at 407 gold per minute. That's not close to Haxorn, 530, who hasn't even used a buyout right now. So, and on top of that, Chessie. I mean, you can't forget about Wild Soul, which is ridiculous here. Let me check and see if he did go ahead and get that Brutalizer. He almost. Oh no, he actually went for the Thunderclaw. So
going Charged Hammer though. There we go. In fact, Chessie just finished a Charged Hammer on Boo Boo.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, he is that bear, man. That bear will wreck face, as we saw in the last fight. Even even before a Charged Hammer pickup, how quickly he was already attacking. Now he's going to be attacking even faster, having some crazy chain lightning procs. That's dangerous. That is dangerous indeed. I will say, having it on Boo Boo, actually, I don't believe Boo Boo can use the effect because he has 0 mana. So yeah, in fact, it is blued out. They're grayed out even. So if he wants to use the effect, he will need to give it to himself or somebody else. But not the biggest deal in the world, I guess, when you think about it. But hey, anyways, he'll still be hitting freaking hard and very, very fast, I think, is the more important thing. We do see, again, in the meantime, though, Domain of Pain just going to sit back and, well, just continue to farm the best they can. They really want to get those Rift Shards, I'm sure, onto Arachna, get her some more damage output. But no doubt Complexity's in a very comfortable spot here in this game. And in the near future, they could very likely just group up and try to make a game-ending push even. Yeah,
they also don't have a Bound Eye anymore, which they desperately need against Fade. Fade has a post-haste now on top of, well, 3,400 gold and a Bound Eye of his own, sorry. And there's just too much farm. Like, there's just too much farm on this team. You also have a double damage rune onto Haxorn, who's got another 3,700 gold saved up. There's not much more to say. There's just too much farm on their team, and they have the late game. So.
Something else, Brutalizer picked up on Warbeast. See, maybe you mentioned that for Boo Boo, but actually Warbeast picked up an Emperor. Decides to go that here.
His attack speed is too low, though. Like, he needs a Demonic, but that was actually going to mention that, too, is the early Souls Bulwark, very early Souls Bulwark on Jetpins. I feel like Blink would have been way better.
Oh, speaking of Warbeast, he's going to be picked up right here. Looks like in comes a Root, but just not in time. Bat Blast on top of that. Aluna getting infected. Torture just running in crazy like Shrunken Head activated, but I don't know how much that is going to do. It's almost a sense of desperation there once again. Aluna is just going to get picked off knowing that she's dead. Are we going to see an Entangle from Boo Boo? Yes, we are. The first hit Entangle, and Torturer will melt away. And, well, if it wasn't over already, I think it might be now. In fact, there we go. There's the vote to concede. Domain of Pain is just simply put had enough. You can tell, especially at the end of that last fight right there, they just lost it. I mean, Complexity just got it, overwhelmed them, and it was just becoming too much. But Complexity playing very well there in the comeback sense, and deserving of the victory, no doubt. So they take game number 1 here in this best of the 3 series trial.
Yeah, I think overall the drafting was quite good on both sides. It was funny because I hated the fact that you had Complexity running that dual lane and long lane.
Yeah.
It obviously didn't work out. You had this like quasi-suicide Fade that was getting absolutely nothing. Probably should have died 2 more times than she did. She only died, actually, he ended up the game 5-1 and 10. And actually, they were talking about before the game, he's actually going for that top KDR as far as the stats are concerned for a HoN Tour.
Wow, yeah, 5-1 and 10. Yeah, that's crazy.
This was basically a suicide Fade, 5-1 and 10. And the inventory also lies, too, because he had like 4,000 gold pooled up there at the end. But they just, I mean, Arachna is kind of a questionable pick. It doesn't really scale that well to the late game because you can't farm that fast with that hero. But that wasn't the problem. They got outplayed. They were taking some fights they didn't need to. The bottom fight, they pressed on way too long. They didn't kill Wretched Hag in that engagement. She went back to base, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump away. Like, you just blink maybe once, and you get already all that regen from the well. You blink right back in the fight in a matter of seconds. And if they didn't get that kill, they needed to back away. They overstayed their welcome. And it was just those bad fights that they took ultimately lost them the game.
Yeah, you know, and actually, I know a lot of people tuning in especially for this cast are either going to love this or hate this, but
yeah,
I think Moon Meander actually played fantastic there. He was a big part, specifically with that with the Shiver. I mean, whenever I saw Fade moving around in ulti form, of course being played by B-Kid, I always saw the Shiver just a little bit ahead, giving him that information, giving him the vision that he was looking for, as far as whether or not it's good to go in or make his move. So I think Moon Meander kind of a quiet hero in that game for Complexity when it was all said and done. Definitely deserving credit. Anyways, Complexity as a team, though, they really did just play great yet again, and they take the first game. But we are going to take a quick break here ourselves. Complexity versus Domain of Pain, though, game number 2. Going to be coming up shortly. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.